pay. Here, let's go to the other end of the language spectrum. APL, which is really the level which makes COSI potentially competitive with any other programming language, including such things as Python, which have actually get a bunch of their power from ideas that have diffused from APL. APL is the most expressive language, and one of the things is I have links here to dialogue. Oh, this is YouTube. Oh, this is a great demo by John Scholes, who's one of the great language designers, certainly, I mean, you know, contemporary and all of that. But that also links to Dialogue APL, which is like the global force in traditional APL. But that goes in a direction of a significant amount of complexity. Ken Iverson himself went to very mathy sorts of stuff in J, but I followed the path of Arthur Whitney, who's contemporary with Ken's sons, and the most the person who's taken things from my perspective to the next level in transparency and simplicity in K, and I've got this link to kx.com, and you will see that K, let me go and end that.
Welcome to the
KX is, you'll see that actually the market for these products is very high performance, big data, high frequency trading, things like that. And in fact, in many ways, the split, because the previous generation of COSI was in K, but I've always been interested in the computer as to artificially aid my thought, be very much an individual and interactive as you see the environment is. In any case, and this is one of the things, one of the people who I saw at some of the early APL conferences I got to, Alan Perlis is rather famous for these epigrams. He was at Yale. But it is better to have 100 functions operate on one data structure than 10 functions on 10 data structures. And there is just one object, one structure in COSI, lists of lists. And one of the things that I find I like that I did is modulo indexing, so just wraps around. I won't get any further into that, but in next video or something, I'll show that. It just means that when you're indexing something, because operations on entire lists is so common, but it just wraps around so that if you, oh, I should have just shown. Let me go. Either show it or forget it. Okay. Let me go. I was going to just go and show this. This actually is worth showing a few things over here. to go and work through this sentence, 5 goes and puts a 5 on the x86 stack. This underbar, and then I goes and turns that into a cozy integer, well, vector. Everything is a list, a one-item list. Iota takes that and returns the first 5 integers in this case. That could be 10,000 or until you get integer overflow. But one of the things actually that's important, and you'll notice that my screen demos here start counting at 1. Intrinsically, address space is number. The first number is 0, which is a conundrum that you're always dealing with in computing. That saved IOTA created that, and then then this saved it the last word saved it in a variable T0, temporary variable. But to go and show you the indexing, if I do, I'll just go and do. There's the last item. If I do actually 5, it goes back to the first number, and actually -1 will take will return the last item in the list. Anyway, details to be gone through later. The real consequential thing about COSI and the fundamental simplicity which is right at the machine level is that all COSI objects, the header for any object, and this is getting again sort of at the machine tech fourth side, is just 4 items, 4 cells, 32 bits, whatever the size of cells on the particular hardware is. But the first cell is the type, the second is the count, the third is reference bits. In any case, that's the entire structure of all objects in COSI. Couple of final points, and this one is perhaps the one I need to stress most. The development of COSI has been irritation-driven development, I'd say. When you run into the fact that, in particular, there are some bugs which now are the most irritating thing that it's getting when it's getting out to other people. There are bugs in the interface with this IUP, this GUI interface, and that will cause it to bomb. And when I get this done, I'm going to be getting in touch, among other people, with guy Danny Reinhold over in Bremen, Germany, who actually implemented the interface between this. All of Riva COSI is an open source, really created by Ron Arendt and a whole cluster of very brilliant people around the globe. And that's the thing that, in a sense, now need to form a cluster of brilliant people going and taking it and elaborating the APL and fleshing out the entire system. And they'll get into in the next slide the business model and why it can behoove you, the motivation for you to put in the efforts to learn COSI and use it for some project which may be all the way from instrumentation, very complex instrumentation, to me, one of the ultimate things is just handling your email and editing your email, including having timestamps in your email and having executable expressions in your documents and so forth. But one of the aspects of COSI that is unique also is that what is counted over the decades is that it's had to be useful. That's why you have timestamp as being such a fundamental aspect of it, and the whole thing of recording your thoughts, whether they be. I ran out of time in that last thing, getting all fired up about the utility and what Cozy can do that nothing else on the planet, so far as I know of, can do. But a driving force has been, and it is the necessity of this notebook environment, interactive notebook environment, and log, being Captain Picard's log, that is a driving thing where the purity of the language is not always the most irritating thing, but I know what needs to be done, and anybody who really understands APL can go and see where the big gaps are and the things need to be done in Cozy. But one of the things is I've reached the point, and the next slide is about the business model. I've reached the point where I've gotten the accounting functions in Cozy, and if you have to take care of major number of assets, accounting is the most fundamental. The more you can account for, the greater the responsibilities you can handle. So I'll leave it. Oh, this is just a link over here to some more material and so forth, but that goes directly to some of the particular ideas. And one of the things that should be said, Cozy is a language for the Twitter age. You can see actually how short these expressions are to do various things. And this is the language, this is Cozy itself. So you can go and one of the notions in fourth is very much the factorability of things. So you can go and mix and match words. You can construct language. Definitions are generally only as long as they'd be in a human dictionary, if that long. You'll see, ask me about anything in reply to these, there's no question that I'm not a pro at this sort of demonstration. But ask me things, and I'll be getting. We'll evolve together. And actually, that's just redundant. I've already told you that there's a lot left to do. But Cozy can already do things that no other language can.